Hey guys, I am Dani and welcome back to Summer Skye Gardens. So I thought in today's video, especially since I have everything blooming here, I would walk you through and show you all of the sunflower varieties that I grew this year. I trialed out a bunch of new ones. I still have some that are coming up, and I wanted to show you kind of my experiences, which ones turned out good and which ones were kind of a bust. As always, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, comment if you have any questions, and let's go take a tour. This is all of these sunflowers that are in our U-pick field, but I've also been using them just as cut flowers to sell wholesale or for arrangements. So let's kind of go start at the beginning. If I have anything that is no longer growing, I will put up like some pictures and video that I took because I had stuff start blooming about a month ago, and my goal was to have everything continue through Thanksgiving. All right, so these were the first two beds that I planted. The first bed was full of Pro-Cut White Night and White Light, which have all done blooming. They're beautiful. I love them. I've grown them before. They're Pro-Cuts, so they're pollenless. They're great cut flowers. However, whites tend to attract a lot more bug pressure. So that's something to keep in mind, especially as you get into the heat of the summer. You may have a lot more bugs than you anticipate on your whites, but overall, they're usually a really good cut flower, and I'll put some pictures or video right here. And then the next couple of beds, I did gold lights, and I still have some that are kind of fading out bloom, so I'll show you those shortly. I love gold lights, way less disease pressure. They are Pro-Cut as well, so they're pollenless. And I had one bed that finished blooming, and then another bed that's kind of petering out. Now these two beds that finished blooming already, I actually ended up ripping out all of the stems. I replanted bed one with more gold lights, and then bed two, I put in my Sunflower Steve mixes, which I'm very, very excited to see how those come out. All right, so here is bed three and bed four. So bed three, I'll show you guys a little more up close. These were all the gold lights, and I pretty much cut everything that I wanted to, and they will come through and put out like these small little branching blooms, which I just leave because I think it'll look good with pictures and just to make it a lot more fuller when people come to the U-pick this coming weekend. Mixed in a lot of the beds, I also have a ton of black-eyed Susans that were kind of leftover seed from the wildflower field, and I've just let them bloom because they're beautiful. They kind of go with all the sunflowers. You can use them as a cut flower, so, you know, why not? This bed right here was Pro-Cut Horizon. Love Horizon. Some people say they like them because they're more of like an upward facing flower. I have found that to be somewhat true, not 100% true, but excellent cut sunflower if you're looking for more of that classic look with like the yellow petals and the dark centers. So, you know, these were kind of petering out. I've not replanted anything in this bed. I'm just kind of letting it go. So here is the gold lights, and you can see where, you know, I cut the original stem and then they came and branched out later. So these are not, you know, for cutting here, but they kind of just help fill in the area, make it look pretty. But the gold lights are always really pretty because the centers are kind of like a yellow and a green when they first start blooming with yellow petals. You can see there's a lot of the black-eyed Susans popping up, which is a native wildflower of Texas. And then let's go over here. Yeah, and you can see like there's another Pro-Cut Horizon that popped up. So, you know, darker center, yellowish petals. So these two beds, I'm just leaving to kind of bloom out and finish out. And then the first two beds I had replanted. All right, so here we are, beds 5 and 6. So bed 5 was another Pro-Cut Horizon, a later planting. So once again, kind of came through, cut a bunch on it, left them as is. They're all kind of branching and blooming, which once again, I feel like makes really good cut flower. really good pictures as it is right now. and a lot prettier for people when they come visit. Now, this next one was new for me this year. It's called Peach Passion, and I was not in love with it, and I don't think I'm going to grow it again. So the color is really pretty. It's like more of like a creamy yellow. Like, I guess they're trying to advertise it as being peachy color. It's not quite peach. It's more of like a creamy yellow. They were very short and they all branched at the top. And I don't know if that's because I was supposed to pinch them when they were shorter, which I didn't, but all the blooms, they never like fully opened. They kind of stayed somewhat closed, and there was just a bunch on the top, and they just never really looked the best ever. I had a few that I cut and put in bouquets that look good, but for the most part, I was not a big fan. I did plant some additional ones just to use up the seeds that I had, so I'll have more coming up. And I think as those come up, I will pinch them and see if that makes a difference, but probably not going to be using this one next year just because, you know, there's so many other better ones. So here's all the horizons. Once again, I'd cut the original stem and now they're all branching, but I think this would make a really cute picture. Like you put your kids here, tons of little sunflowers in the background. So here's the Peach Passion. So you can see what I'm talking about. We're like super branchy on the top, short branches, really short flowers comparatively. And, you know, while the coloring is pretty, they all just kind of did this, where they like started to open up and then just stopped. And, you know, same growing conditions as every other sunflower. So I just have to believe that this is just a variety issue and not my fave. All right, here we are in bed 7 and bed 8. It's probably my favorite part of the U-pick. Bed 7 was my golden cheer sunflowers. I've grown these before. I love them. They get big and fluffy and they're just super like funky looking. I did have an issue where I had some leaf cutter ants come through and clear out like a fourth of the row. I still had a few bloom despite all the leaves being cut down, but I did lose a bunch. Once I kind of figured out what was going on, I came in and I sprayed really heavily, and that kind of stopped it for now. And now that the weather's starting to cool off, hopefully the leaf cutter ants should calm down. Apparently that's only like a Texas thing that happens, so yay. But the rest of these have started to bloom beautifully, so I'll show you up close on that. And then over here is a branching mix that I love to get from Johnny's. I've grown this before. It's really great for a U-pick because it has like a ton of different colors. And I think I may just plant these in Pro Cuts next year in my U-pick, because you can see like they're tall, lots of variety. And people, you know, love to see like the different colored sunflowers because you're not going to find those in the grocery store, the market, a lot of your local florists. So it's kind of fun to see that they can come in all different kinds of colors and forms. This, I believe, is called the Summer Breeze mix. I will for sure put the name right here if you want to check it out. It's a branching variety. I did not come through and pinch these just because I kind of just didn't have time. But you can see they've gotten really tall and they're starting to branch off like higher up. So if you pinch them when they're shorter, they should branch from lower on the stem, but overall they'll probably be slightly shorter. So I figure it's kind of fun to have them not be pinched here and let them get a lot taller with people coming, you know, to visit to the farm. So let me show you up close on these because they're so, so pretty. All right, golden cheer and the bees, absolutely love these. You can see they're just fully yellow. They get super, super fluffy. Here's my hand for comparison. So some are smaller than others. I mean, I plant them 6 inches apart and they will start to branch. And you can see when they're younger, they have more of a greenish center. And then it fills out and gets really fluffy. I'm probably going to come in and deadhead a few that are starting to fade in here before the weekend so that they'll keep kind of branching out. But I love these. I think they're so fun. They're so beautiful. And then, yeah, here is the mix. So you kind of have some more like classic colors. And then you have you know, kind of these darker ones. Like, look at that. It's like a red color, so pretty. And then you have ones that are more ombre. And you can buy sunflowers like this, you know, individually. Here's like a lemon. But I think it's just fun to have them all mixed in. Like, look at those. Those are so fun. I think this will make a really good spot for pictures, having all like the different colors in the background. Here's like a lighter ombre, almost looks like a Pro Cut, like a bicolor lemon. I love these like two-tone ones. The dark ones are so fun. So highly, highly recommend this mix. Look at this like huge fluffy guy. Wow. Now the rest of the beds have not bloomed yet. So I have this bed right here, which I think now we're on 9 or 10 or so. Lost track. As you go on, you can see, you know, further successions, smaller down here. So these are kind of getting into more of my darker ombre colors. So I have Chianti, Terracotta, Joker, Gypsy Charmer. What else? I'll put the names and some pictures right here. And then at the very end, I have Kong, which are like the huge ones. So I think that'll be fun when those finally pop up kind of at the end. I have come in and added seeds because I have found my watering wasn't really like on top of everything when I was first planting, and the edges of the beds have not quite germinated. So I came in, and most of the rows I added more seeds, which will be fine because it'll give me a little bit of a succession. And then kind of in the back was having a hard time getting some water. So I came in and I added just any like gold. I think I had a bunch of Gold Light seeds left, Pro Cut Gold Light and Pro Cut Horizon. So I just came and added them on the edges so that I can have some more, you know, sunflowers starting to bloom more toward Thanksgiving. But yeah, I think this is really fun to do, like a lot of different varieties, trialing out some newer ones. These darker ombre ones usually do great. So all in all, the only one I was really disappointed with that I for sure won't be growing was the Peach Passion. And I think a lot of the like single variety colors I will grow next year, but not necessarily in the U-pick, more like in the production field. So I can use them for florists, other growers, you know, custom bouquets, stuff like that. And then in the U-pick, I'll probably do a mix of like Pro Cuts, probably like the whites, the Gold Light, the Horizon, and then like these branching mixes, just because it makes for great pictures, gives people a good variety of things to see and to cut, and they always grow really well. One last thing is I kind of grew these somewhat different in that I didn't lay down drip irrigation. I just did want to mess with it. I figured, you know, sunflowers usually are pretty drought and heat tolerant. And so I just decided to water them with an overhead sprinkler, which has worked just fine. I'm just, you know, moving it around as I go throughout the day. You know, let it water for about 30 minutes or so per area. We haven't had rain in almost a couple of months, so it has been, I've really been having to stay on top of the watering, but that's been fine. And then I'm really not weeding. Number one, I don't have the time or the energy. The floor cover on all the sunflower beds are covered in weeds, but because the sunflowers grow so big and bushy and I plant them so close together, you really can't see too much of the weeds unless you're really looking for them. Like I said, a lot of them are the black-eyed Susans that are popping up, and you know, those will actually grow bigger and start to bloom. The rest is either like weeds or maybe some other random wildflowers, but I'm just kind of coming through and weed eating the edges of the pathway and around the beds so that you can walk and it looks nice and neat, but not weeding in the beds. And that's worked fine. The sunflowers are still growing. Even the areas that I've come in and added more seeds, they're popping up through the weeds. So this is give you guys permission to not weed, as long as, you know, it looks okay and it's not affecting the growth of your plants. Like, who cares? Save yourself a bunch of time and effort. But hopefully this helped you guys out. If you want to, you know, you've been wanting to grow more sunflowers or more different types of sunflowers. If you need any other info or you have questions, leave a comment below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.